Guys, welcome back. Let's start calling these the Truck Chronicles. Sitting out here watching it rain a little bit, trying to finish this track up, and I want to talk about. Was Hank right? Was he right in what he said? And was I wrong for saying that he was doing it for views and things like that? And then I'm going to talk about I actually agree with Randy Blanket. You heard that right. So let's get into the Hank thing. And first, let me say this. This is a weekly vlog. We do it every week. We've been doing it for 2 years. I mean, why in the world do people say, stick to fishing tips? Well, I made a YouTube page where I could do what I wanted to do. You don't have to watch it. You can take your little right thumb, scroll on up. You do not have to watch it. I made a Facebook page where I could post what I want without anybody saying I could or could not post it. If you don't watch, or you want to look for tips, or you want to post your tips, scroll up. You're not forced to do anything. So just get that down. So before somebody you ought to stick to tips. Why'd you watch? You knew what it was. You watched because you wanted to watch, and then I made you mad, so you got off. But I want to talk about. So I took a lot of flack. I took a lot of good folks. A lot of folks said, "Hey, I agree with you." Some said, the half agreed, and then some was totally outright. I had some to tell me, I must hate high school fishing. I must hate high school fishing. Hank's in support of high school fishing. He's doing this for the good of the sport. So I went back and looked. Here's the crazy thing. There's so many people saying, great, you're really looking out for high school sports. But Hank put out a video talking about we must help high school fishing. Do you know how many views it got? 987. I've looked over the last 5 days. It's been stuck on 987 for 5 straight days. So do people really care about high school bass fishing? Or is it that they hate Livescope so much and that's the new narrative? I don't know. Had a lot of people say, well, he's a multi-millionaire. He don't need... If you're a multi-millionaire, you don't have to keep putting out a fishing show. You can just ride off into the sunset. Maybe he is, maybe he isn't. I don't have any access to his finances. I don't have a clue what he makes. He may be a millionaire with $10 million worth of property and $2 million worth of cash, and we don't know this. We don't know it. I don't know it any more than you know it. Some people may know it. Good for you if you know it. So when I said he was doing some of this stuff for clicks, I went back and looked. Most of his videos get 3,000 to 4,000 views. He did have one to get about 9,000. That was talking about not being. This is all in the last 3 or 4 videos. One talking about I was. What did it say? It was against the rules for me to fish the Bassmaster Classic or something. Pretty interesting story because he had too big of a motor. Too big of a motor. We're keeping with, remember guys, we're trying to stay to the tradition of fishing and that, but we had too big of a motor. The guys who say stick to it's a tradition thing. But people didn't run. You didn't run 130 miles one way, 150 miles one way, 150 miles the other. And you didn't do all that back in the days of 40 horses and bathtub style boats. You didn't. Is that the tradition of bass fishing? I don't know. That's debatable. We're going to leave that out there. So he had something like 9,000 views on that. Then he posted this controversial video and blew up. Crazy story is the very next video blew up. What was it about? Electronics. The very next video after that, and I like Hank, so I watch all his videos. So for somebody says, you're just stalking Hank's page, I've been watching Hank's videos because I watch a lot of the old shows and all the, like I love to watch his old commercials where he's promoting an electric reel. So his last 3 or 4 videos have been about electronics, and one where he wasn't eligible because his motor was too big, and they're all large number of views. So for somebody to say, well, he didn't do that for views, he don't need the views. If he didn't need the views, why didn't he go right back to something different? It's obvious. He wanted the views. Because, I mean, putting out a TV show is very expensive. On the Outdoor Channel, I don't even know what the price. I do know that if you go to Waypoint TV and try to put a fishing show on Waypoint TV for one season, you got to pay them. You have to pay them $6,000 cash. $6,000. And then you can sell ad space yourself, or they can do it and split the revenue with you. I'm assuming Outdoor Channel is probably, because Waypoint doesn't have a channel per se. But Outdoor TV is probably way more. Probably a lot of money to put those shows on TV, so you got to sell a lot of ads. So it costs a lot of money, whereas YouTube pays you. You can literally get paid from the ads and advertise within your video if you'd like to. I do that sometimes. Advertise my video, my rides, or talk about things I like. That's advertising within the video. So you're getting the maximum amount of coverage and visibility for your brand. So YouTube and social media and Instagram and those things are the better way to go, in my opinion, than trying to put a TV show out that you pay money for somebody to watch, and then if you can't procure the ads, you're kind of out of luck, So that's one thing. So I hear it all the time. I hear all this about the new no forward set. They're putting these little locks on it in the tournament, but then they're going to jump bed fish. I mean, they're going to fish for bedding fish, pre-spawn, spawn, and post-spawn. Bedding fish, fish guarding fry, and you'll pluck them off. Let's just pluck them off a bed. Take them 30 miles. They're not going to spawn. If they did spawn, that bed's screwed. If you don't put them back, they ain't got a chance. Then you take post-spawn, guard and fry. They're gone. Those fish are screwed. Pre-spawn, I don't know. So they're going to do all this, but they're going to drive around with other electronics, just not forward-facing. And all they could say was, all this there's a few pros, Andy Morgan, which I like him. I like his hunting show with Levi. Him and Levi on the hunt show. On Levi Morgan's hunt show. Talked about it's the purest form of fishing. It's where real skill is going to come out. Any idiot. I can give my 10-year-old a brush hog. Tell him throw it up on the bank, reel it, jig it, do whatever you want. He's going to catch fish during the spawn. They're there. We already know they're there. They go up there and lay their eggs. So anybody can catch them. Anybody can catch post-spawn fish. Just throw a buzzbait for a while. Throw a frog. You can catch fish. Is that true skill? I don't know. That's debatable. I mean, some people are a little bit better at it, it seems, than others. I don't know. Or maybe that's just what they do. Whereas other people switch baits a lot. You find your bait and you do it. We're not going to debate that. But that does lead me to my next point about Randy Blockett. Is he right? I think he may be right on one thing. I heard a deal where he talked about there's about a 3 or 4 week period where most fish in the lake spawn. Most fish. And during that time, should stop tournaments, stop fishing, whatever. I didn't watch the whole thing. I'll admit that, but I do know he was talking about stopping tournaments during that 3 or 4 week season. Is pretty predictable every year. Stopping that during that tournament, stopping tournaments during that time, stopping fishing during that time, and I'm actually okay with that. I think it's if you think Livescope's harming fisheries, it's not. Yanking a fish off a bed, throwing him in the live well, toting him 30 miles down the lake, that harms fisheries. That does. I mean, that harms fisheries. That in itself is way more harmful to a fishery than Livescope ever thought about being. That's crazy to me. That people actually, they'll call that, and that comes to my next point of bed fishing is considered a real skill of fishing, but you don't consider Livescope a fishing, a real skill. Why? You're essentially bed fishing. You're bed fishing in open water, I would say, kind of close to bed fishing. You're bed fishing in open water. I even heard Mark Menendez. It's like spotlighting, but Mark Menendez will bed fish. So if you can see it with your eyes in 1 foot of water and he's on a big old open spot in a bed, that's okay. But if you can see it with your electronics, not okay. Please explain this madness. But guys, thanks for watching. Thanks for subscribing. Remember, if you don't want to watch it, don't watch it. Ring the bell.